Well, hello. I'm sharing greetings with you. Very happy to be invited to come into your classroom and share a little bit of Round Rock history that pertains to our story. I am A.W. Anthony Mays. Currently, I serve as senior pastor of the Mount Sinai Baptist Church in Austin, Texas. And certainly we invite you at any time to share with us. Thank you for this invitation during this time and season to share with you a little bit of the story of the integration of Round Rock High School, which was the beginning of total integration of the Round Rock school system. It's going back to the year 1964, the fall term of 1964. It happened, I would say, impulsively on our part. How it happened was that in 1964, in the month of August 13th, according to the record of the minutes that I have, the Round Rock School Board trustees in a regular meeting passed a resolution that allowed that students could then choose which school they would attend. And it passed without a lot of fanfare, a lot of newsworthy attention, but it was a part of the record. I surmise, I believe that Round Rock might have been influenced because in Washington, D.C., in 1964, there was the Civil Rights Bill that was passed, and it may have had some influence upon the school board's decision. Well, moving forward from that August 13th meeting, it got out, of course, publicly that that resolution had been passed. I was sharing with an older cousin, riding with him in a car, the two of us having conversation, going from Round Rock to Taylor, Texas, where he lived. And casually I mentioned the school board's proclamation of freedom of choice. And my cousin, Luke Mercer Sr., said to that news it was a shame that no one was going. Impulsively, without thinking much about it, I said to my cousin, I am going. And that started this whole thing moving forward with that conversation, because when we reached Taylor, Texas, in those days it was even a long distance call from Taylor back to Round Rock, my older cousin, Luke Mercer Sr., called my grandmother, with whom I lived, and told her what my decision was, and I felt locked in at that time. I'm on my way. It's out now that I am on my way to Round Rock High School. Well, integration in some years previous was not so smooth. 1957, the Little Rock 9 students, the 9 teenagers, African Americans, that dared to enter Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, that became a very public and national event as it was resisted, and it actually resulted in a battle of power between the state and between the national government. Eisenhower was president and prevailed, but there was a lot of resistance and a lot of history that you can look into as to how that came about. Ruby Ridges in 1960, a 6-year-old girl at the time, became the first African American student to go to a certain elementary school, first grade, in New Orleans. She had to be conducted to her classes by marshals. Federal marshals escorted her to her class, and the story made some news in that in resisting the integration, the parents of all the other students took them away from school, and Ruby Bridges said for a whole year she was the only student in that school because they had pulled him out. Well, it was not that kind of a story at Round Rock. we were blessed and fortunate to have leaders of the school board, principal of the school, teachers that were accepting of my presence. I enrolled very quietly for the next term. It was a short time period because August the 13th was when the proclamation or the resolution was passed, and school started very shortly. So there was no time to organize. There was no recruitment of other students. No one had counseled me to make this move, and so I was the lone student simply because I'd impulsively decided, and it was not a group decision. It was not an organizational decision. It was an individual choice, and no one joined me in that move because, like I said, it was a very short time in between the passing of the resolution and my desire and determination to enroll. I was treated very fairly, I believe, treated very kindly in the sense that I was welcomed into the school. I think it was made smoother, that I was drafted into athletics. I did not at first believe that I would go out for athletics because I had a sense that I wanted to prove myself a good student. I wanted to make good grades. I wanted to have the best behavior because I bore the unfair burden of thinking that all African Americans would be judged by my success or my failure. But the coach Nelson met me in the hallway, and my schedule was changed, and I became a football player, and with some ability became popular through the football season as a running back. My name of Anthony became Tony, and many people who now know back from those days would not call me A.W. Anthony, but they would call me Tony. I would like to close with saying that my teachers and my fellow students received me quietly for 2 years as a lone African American, and then in our senior year, the third year that I was a student at Round Rock High School, was the year that the African American segregated Hopewell School was shut down and all students were brought into the one system. I'd recommend to you, get to know someone, get to have interaction, because I gained a wider knowledge by interacting with those who were not of my race. It broadened my knowledge and helped me to see people as people, and I'm thankful for that experience in each and every way. Venture out and learn and experience cultures beyond your culture. And I'm thankful that Round Rock did not make the news in some negative fashion. No fears, no fights, none of that occurred, because even at the thought that there was, I knew that teachers would step in and make sure it would not be racial in incidents. And I'm thankful for the 3 years and thankful for the history of Round Rock High School to that point. And I say to you, I hope I've responded to questions that you may have wanted to ask. And until another time, this is A.W. Anthony Mays. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful time in your school.